Smart cube technology has gotten really good recently. We're now at the point where smart cubes are performing almost just as well as top of the line speed cubes. And despite that, smart cubes still aren't talked about anywhere near as much as normal speed cubes. Honestly, that doesn't make much sense to me. For speed cubers, smart cubes are way better than any normal cube, and the ability to track just about everything in your solves is incredibly useful. You know, in theory, smart cubes are pay to win when it comes to improvement. Even for casual cubers, smart cubes offer a ton of fun features like head-to-head racing and other games. So why don't people talk about them more? Well, I don't know. So I decided to spend a month using a smart cube to see why. This isn't the first time I've ever used a smart cube. I've had the Rubik's connected for a while now, and I just didn't really use it much. Now don't get me wrong, it's really cool, but personally I didn't really find it that interesting. So recently I got my hands on the GAN iCarry and I decided to give smart cubes a try again. Overall, it's not a bad cube, and for the price it's pretty good, but there definitely are better smart cubes out there. The software, on the other hand, is a mess. Honestly, that was the #1 thing keeping me from using a smart cube in the first place. Now don't get me wrong, the Rubik's Connected app is actually pretty good. It's just geared more towards beginners, and the Cube Station app just feels insanely clunky and dirty to me. And let's not even talk about Moyu software. But the good thing is that there is a way around it. CubeBeast. CubeBeast is basically the ultimate timer for smart cubes. It's able to track your solves and present you with just about every statistic there is, and it has a nice clean UI, which is just 1,000,000 times better than any of the other apps. Also do want to say that some of the content, well, just the Academy page, is locked behind a paywall, but I'm only going to be using the stuff that you can access for free because I don't want to pay for it. So if you have a smart cube, I 100% recommend you try out CubeBeast. It's linked in the description. So now that I started using CubeBeast, solving with a smart cube was way better and I genuinely enjoyed it. I just think that being able to see all of your stats like that is super cool and very helpful. However, I was struggling with finding ways to actually integrate smart cubes into my practice. I usually organize my practice sessions based off whatever steps I'm practicing. So for this month, I started with last layer practice where I practice my ZBLL. Now, if I had the full version of CubeDesk, I would be able to use the Academy page to practice my last layer, but since I don't, I just had to stick with a normal cube and a ZBLL trainer. After that, I would practice my EO cross. Now, there's not much a smart cube can help with here except inspection, so it's a good thing that I was practicing my inspection. So I set my inspection time to 15 seconds, and I had another session where the inspection time was at 30 seconds, and I tried to inspect as much as possible. Once I finished my solves, I can look at my stats, and based off of my EO cross stats, I can tell how well I inspected. Then after that, I would practice my F2L. Now with smart cubes, it's best to practice F2L by doing slow solves and trying to get your move count or your recognition time as low as possible. Finally, I would end the session by doing a couple of solves. After the session, I would compare all of my solves to find what I struggle with so I can work on that in the next session. Like I said, I struggled with finding ways I could integrate a smart cube into my practice session, because besides solves, you really can't do much. Outside of CubeBeast, there really aren't any good resources for smart cubes. You know, I really wish there was a software where you could create your own drills and share them with people. However, whenever I was able to use a smart cube, it worked really well. The ability to see all of your solutions and stats is incredibly useful, and it saves a ton more time than the older method of recording your solves and watching them back in slow motion later. The only problem here is that CubeBeast kinda doesn't give you the information you need. Like, it's there, but it's not very easy to compare one solve to another solve. Basically, CubeBeast is good at showing you info from one solve and from hundreds of solves, but not where it's most important, which is the middle, like 1 to 50 solves. I believe this area is most important because this is where you can start to see patterns and you're not overwhelmed by a ton of data. The good thing is there is a way around it. You can just insert all of the stats that you want into a table for each solve, or you can just use a CSV file. So here's one of my databases. It just has the stats from 25 different solves from one session, and I have other tables for my other sessions. Here, I can easily view and compare the stats that I find the most important from my solves. The only problem is that it does take a little bit to insert all of the stats you want. Now, there is a workaround with the use of the CSV file, but I don't really like it because there are a ton of stats just crammed in there. Besides that, smart cubes are amazing. I'm able to analyze my solves way quicker than if I had just recorded them. The only thing I can't really track is how well my turning is. Despite that, I like looking through my stats more than recording my solves and watching them later. So why don't people talk about smart cubes more? You know, I'm still not sure. Smart cubes are literal cheat codes when it comes to improvement, and they deserve to be talked about way more than they are now. Is it the price? You know, they are definitely more expensive than the average speed cube. I mean, the GAN 12 UI is over $100, but both the GAN I carry and the new Moyu AI cubes are just around $30, which isn't that bad. To put that into perspective, they are cheaper than the Worm V9 ball core and the Tornado V3 flagship. So it can't be the price, especially if you're using code ALEX at thecubicle.com for 5% off. Is it the performance? You know, no, there's no way, because the GAN 12 UI is literally the GAN 12, but smart. And the new Moyu AI cubes use almost the exact same piece design as the Worm V9. Even the older smart cubes like the GAN I carry perform fine. You know, they're definitely not great, but they work well enough. So then, what is it? You know, I actually think it has to do with the WCA, because as of right now, you cannot compete with smart cubes, and for good reason. You know, being able to track the state of your cube on your phone is obviously not fair. But since they're not competition legal, what's the point of getting one? You know, why get a cube that you can't even use in competition? Well, because this is what's gonna get you good. These cubes offer so many useful features that will help you improve. And honestly, if we're not already there, these cubes are almost at the point where having one will give you an advantage over everyone else. So yeah, smart cubes are really good, and you should get one. As for me, I'm gonna keep using smart cubes, because if you can't tell, I really like them. Anyways, love you, bye!